All right. Hello and welcome to Tantrums and Tangents, our talk show that we have on Wednesdays, joined by Saberwolf.
Hey guys.
So yeah, today we're talking about zombies. They're cool.
Yeah.
They're scary. We're going to explore why.
Right.
But yeah. So I guess before we begin, I do have some stories, also introductions, right? I've got a rolling rock, a teeny rolling rock.
Teeny tiny rolling rock. I have a Schlafly summer lager because it's just what you do.
It's just what you do.
Cool deal.
That's not trademarked or anything, right?
No.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so I have some updates. During the stream, sometimes I'll talk about some of the IRL stuff that happens, and there was the topic of the Dutch bunny. So at some point, I got in contact with some people who take in wildlife and basically rehabilitate them and try to put them in the wild. And I talked to them, and they said, yeah, catching that bunny would piss it off because it's been free for so long, so it would basically be angry in a cage the whole rest of its life. And I'm like, that sounds real shitty of me to do. Even though it's a domesticated rabbit, it's freaking thriving, making friends with the wild bunnies, like hopping around and shit. It's great. But actually what's funny is I actually made a hutch that has like a ramp going up into it, and the doors are always open, and I fill it with this, like, I forget, Timothy hay? I was gonna say Jefferson hay. Timothy hay, and some like bunny snacks in general, like lettuce and maybe a little bit of apple or something. But
Cool
what's
deal.
funny is the Dutch bunny's not showing up to it. Wild bunnies are. So yeah, just thought I'd let you guys know that apparently my house has become some sort of haven for both domesticated wild rabbits and wild rabbits.
Most excellent.
Oh shit. So
No,
zombies.
Yeah, zombies.
People that have come to my stream know that for a fact that I hate zombies.
With a passion.
I think they're disgusting, and it gets that like core of my humanity that's like, that is a disturbingly disfigured remnant of what could have possibly been human, and it disturbs the fuck out of me. So yeah, you don't see it too often unless it's like Oblivion, because they have pretty nasty looking zombies.
Right?
But like, for some reason, I'm not like disturbed by ghouls in Fallout, and they're kind of zombies too in their own way, which is interesting.
Right. Yeah, that is definitely a little bit strange that there's like this bias that your phobia has about zombies.
Right.
So let me ask this. Well, okay, before we get into the actual topic, I you know me, I always like to do definitions and stuff before we
Oh
actually
no,
get
it's always a good thing to have.
Absolutely, just so we have like a common parlance on what we're talking about.
Mhm.
So, Google tells me that a zombie is defined as a corpse said to be revived by witchcraft, especially in certain African and Caribbean religions, and is also a tall mixed drink consisting of several kinds of rum, liquor, and fruit juices. We're obviously talking about the dead people possessed by magic. So,
Although now, now I want that mix of cocktail stuff, and yeah,
Right,
sounds
right.
great.
I'm not gonna lie. Having a tall, refreshing zombie right now would also be good. So, that being said, I wanted to actually ask you, Ving, because you have all kinds of thoughts about zombies.
Yeah.
Like what? So like before we actually get to the unpacking part of like why ghouls aren't scary but zombies are scary, what generally is like the thing that freaks you out about zombies?
So I mean, I always think of it as like grades of zombie, right? And the grade of zombie is based on how much they've been like left to decay, right? Because you have someone that's freshly been buried and they come back to life, and because of today's modern preservation techniques, they look like a normal person, right?
Sure.
Give them 60 years or so, they won't look so good.
Accurate.
Yeah. Give them a couple hundred more years and they're borderline just flesh hanging on skeleton.
Right.
And I sort of have this range of like, if they've been dead too long and they have too much decomposing, I don't like them. They disturb me.
Is it like is it just like too close to that uncanny valley thing where it's like this is no longer in like the realm of what is okay for you to look at?
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because I totally get what you're talking about, but like I'm a horror freak, right? Like I think that like the more decayed and gross the zombie is, pretty much the better. But but yeah, like I can totally see how like just like, oh god, it looks so gross, like can actually be like
it's like when it's actually like dripping, right?
Right.
Like it's beyond like their movement's a bit impeded by the fact that they've been dead so long, and like there are parts of them missing,
Right.
Yeah.
Is that also part of it, like when parts of the zombie aren't present?
Yeah, like jawless zombies and stuff like that. Those are really
well, I mean,
crazy.
like, to be fair, that's pretty gross because their tongue gets to hang.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
That's pretty gross. But yeah, like, so I mean that's like a gut thing that people have. It's like it looks like a person, but it's wrong, and like when it's wrong, that part, like when it's just not what your brain wants to perceive, is where there's like there's friction.
Yeah.
And it caused people to become uncomfortable. So yeah, I totally.
Basically, the Bethesda character creation gone wrong.
Right.
You get that one step where you've messed with the nose a bit too much, and now it's like some horrific being.
Oh my god. Later on, there's like an expansion or like part of Elder Scrolls 7 or 8 or whatever, and it's like instead of just a scar, you have the option to become an amputee.
Oh my god.
And you can play on like super hard mode because you have to play one-handed.
Then you could do like cool stuff like you have like a mace arm, right?
Right.
But that requires a lot of training and shit.
That'd be cool. I'd
man.
dig it. Yeah, having prosthetic limbs would then become like a real thing that you can achieve in the game. Which ooh, and I'm thinking about it, that'd be fucking cool. So
I mean, when you're thinking of a mystic aspect, like holy shit, you could have like a rocket peg leg. Or like fucking a broomstick.
Yeah, right. You just like took the witch's broomstick and shoved it onto your stump.
Yeah. It looks really awkward because you got like half of a broom for a leg, but who's laughing when you're flying through the air cackling like a motherfucker?
Legit. So I want to ask about the other part of sort of like the zombie thing that a lot of people latch onto. Like most of the time when we think about classic zombies, we're thinking of something that's mindless, right? Like it's under something else's control. It doesn't have to think. It's just an animate corpse, right?
Yeah.
Is that part of what like bothers you? That there's like no mind controlling it? It's just sort of animated by some outside force?
Actually, you know what? There's another part that does deeply disturb me, and it's this weird thing, and I'll describe it as best I can, but essentially we're gonna put the situation in perspective here. You're running away from a guy with a gun.
Yes. Even
Even though you think of him as that evil asshole who's chasing you with a gun, he's relatable, right?
Sure, he's a person.
You're being chased by a lion. It's trying to eat you.
Yes.
There's like this vast difference of I'm trying to get away from you, because you know that the guy with the gun isn't going to try to eat your face off, whereas the lion will. And so there's this like whole separate like way of like worry while you're trying to run away, because you know there's a bit of humanity in a person, but things like zombies and lions they don't give a shit. They will maul you to pieces and then eat you, and not in that order sometimes.
Right. I mean that's accurate.
So that's the scary part for me about zombies is they don't give a shit about you. Like
Gotcha.
you
So-
are its prey, and it's capable of much more like grievous bodily harm that it's willing to do, but you're probably not.
Right. Yeah. No, that's fair. Especially when we get back to that part about zombies that also freaks you out, right? Because like you can shoot the face off a zombie, you can shoot like the mouth off of a zombie. It might still be inclined to still try and gnaw on you some.
Oh yeah.
So like yeah, there's like that's even if you like dismember and destroy parts of zombies, the force that animates them keeps them going, and like you have to do like way more harm to a zombie than you would even a lion.
Exactly.
To, stop trying to eat you. So yeah, I can see the relentlessness is like a worry. I can understand that.
That you have to do significantly more to damage it than anything else in the world in order to stop it from chasing you or eating you.
Right. And yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different myths about what you need to do in order to stop a zombie.
True.
Because like you've got zombies that are like straight up you have to destroy their brain.
Yeah.
With, like not even just like cut their head off, but you have to destroy the brain.
Yeah.
In order to like make them stop coming at you, which is not a mean feat. Like that's like a task sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Especially because like they're trying to kill you the entire time, right?
Oh yeah, so, like, it's not like they're gonna give you like a 2-minute head start or anything.
Oh, that might be funny.
I would like a bro zombie though. Fucking come at me.
Right. There's a TV show called iZombie.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that you would have watched it based on.
No, I don't even watch The Walking Dead.
Right. Very different zombies. Like the zombies in iZombie, as long as they can keep eating brains, they don't have any issues. They stay very person-like. Their skin gets pale. Oh,
that's like gosh, there was that one movie that had a very similar concept.
Oh, Warm Bodies? I think it's Warm Bodies.
Is it that one? Where it wasn't every zombie, but there was one zombie who basically became normal after some period of time.
Yeah. It's definitely Warm Bodies.
And that eating brains was the only thing that made them feel humans. There was like this inner psychology that we couldn't understand as people.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's similar to the thing that they have going on in iZombie. Like they eat brains, they stay themselves, but like when they eat brains, like the person's brain whom they've consumed, they can sometimes trigger flashbacks into their life.
Yeah.
So you kind of get like this this vicarious living thing. Like you can kind of experience things that you've never experienced. But
or
also
forgot.
like their old personality like influences your current personality the more you tap into those memories. So like it's funny because it's a procedural crime drama.
Oh,
like,
really?
It's straight up like Law and Order, but with a zombie instead of with like cops.
Interesting.
She works in a morgue.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. She was like, well, I have a medical degree. If I'm a zombie now and I got to eat brains, then I guess I'll work in a morgue and hope nobody notices when I cut people's skulls open. But her coworker finds out because he's a smart dude. And they become partners in crime fighting.
Interesting.
Oh, and at some point they get partnered. Well, she gets partnered up with a cop who is actually like fighting crime, and he doesn't know that she's a zombie. It's very funny.
Nice.
But anyway, so to get away from that bit of levity, like I don't know. I think that's an interesting and sort of novel idea. Like if you want to like tell stories about zombies, you have to give them
some humanity, some person. Yeah, exactly. Or else they're just completely unrelatable. Like it's been the first time you've really gotten on the side of zombies, right?
Yeah. But like I noticed that's definitely a thing, right? Like whenever whenever there is a protagonist who is like, I am dead, they always have something going for them. There's always like, or there's like exceptions to the rule. Like in the 80s, there was the movie The Crow, and he was kind of like a zombie. He was dead and came back and this whole thing. But he was out for revenge. He was very much like deadpan. I don't care. I'm strictly here to do the job of kill everybody who ever crossed me and like betrayed me, and I'm done with that shit. You motherfuckers are gonna die. But like, and aside from like the like goth makeup that he's got, because he's white face, you know, streaking like mascara and all that stuff, like he doesn't like seem much like a zombie. He's more like a revenant, which is a different type of undead. But yeah, like there's, well, and when like even having brought it up, like there's a whole bunch of different types of undead.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
Zombies, right? So like you've got liches, right? Because we were talking about this before the stream.
Yeah. Liches are basically zombie wizards.
Yeah.
That while they were alive, they prepared a ritual of some magic variety, and they basically said, you know, had the contingency, when I die, I won't actually really die. I'll just come back to life. Right. And then, of course, they apparently also forgot about, you know, preserving their own hide. But, you know, we're an all-powerful wizard. Who gives a shit what you look like?
I mean, that's fair. Like, there's like a whole bunch of different, like lore about liches. But it all boils down to basically a couple things. Your soul, upon your body's death, doesn't go to the next realm.
Right, it just stays in place.
Yeah. Exactly. Usually it's in this device that people call, or that like I know traditionally as being called a phylactery. And so you've got this soul catching device, and it holds your soul. Usually you have to like literally cut your soul out of you while you're still alive and stuff it into this thing. It usually involves some kind of crazy, abominable ritual. Oh yeah. And it's like it's always like universally one of those things where it's like, this is the most evil thing you could possibly do. You have to sacrifice puppies to Satan in order to do this, like kind of stuff.
You do not want to be under an apprenticeship while this is going down.
Yeah, don't apprentice under liches. They're bad news.
Nah.
But yeah, like I think hilariously, I never even thought of this until it was relatively recently, when I was like unpacking my ideas about like about media and like what examples I can think of that liches are, and it finally dawned on me that in the Harry Potter books, Lord Voldemort is a fucking lich, and like,
except he went a step further. Instead of having a phylactery, he had a Horcrux, and he split his soul into many different parts, so it's much harder to collect that and try to destroy it.
Exactly. Like, he went, because, like, we all know that if you destroy a phylactery, you can destroy the lich. But fucker went a step further and made 7 of them.
Yeah, right? Like, that becomes vastly more difficult when you gotta track down... And, of course, you know, it's not like... Here, I put my... it's in a field of daisies with some leprechauns. No. It's like in fucking Mount Doom. Right. And the other's in, like, the Pit of Suffering. And the other one's in the horrible fucking dank cave of You're Gonna Die.
The dank cave?
Dankest dungeon.
Dankest dungeon. Oh, that'd be great. I want to see that mod.
That probably is a mod. They actually have an X page.
It'd be so good.
Oh man.
But man, like, so yeah, like there's...
That's probably like the highest tier zombie that you can possibly be.
Right. Yeah,
and let's be clear, highest tier undead.
Yes, correct.
Not really a zombie per se, but it's still alive after it's dead.
Exactly.
I guess technically you could also call vampires undead, but they have their own category, you know?
Right. You would definitely call a vampire an undead. Like whenever the vampires get categorized. They always get thrown into the undead category. But like, it's a completely different kind of undeath, right?
Oh, totally,
So,
yeah.
But yeah, like, there's that. But like, if you go back to, actually, I wanted to get back to that thing that we were talking about at the beginning of the stream when you were talking about how ghouls don't actually bother you.
Okay.
Now, so like, so technically, ghouls are undead.
Yeah,
like,
in the Fallout universe, ghouls are basically, well, it's kind of weird. Well, let me explain how ghouls work.
Sure.
Basically, from what I've read by all like the menu blurbs when you're transferring areas and when you're loading up the game and shit, they usually describe it as someone basically riddled with radiation but unfortunate enough to not die.
Yes.
And so basically the idea is that your skins, well, in Fallout 3 your skin's blown off, in Fallout 4 your skin's kind of like melded and melted, sort of. It's a little different.
Like terribly burned.
Terribly burned, yeah. But yeah, so there's basically this thing where the ones that you most fear, the feral ghouls, the radiation actually started melting their brain, not just their flesh. Whereas the other ones technically got off a little bit luckier. That it hasn't seeped into their brain yet, but there have been stories of normal ghouls getting worse.
Yep.
And that's probably due to them being close to radiation.
Right.
But then again, you're in an apocalypse, so when is that not happening?
Right. So it's sort of inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Unless you have the opportunity to like go somewhere and just wait out the rest of the fallout, right?
Yeah, so I mean, that's how you get people that are like over 200 years old and still a ghoul, because they're just still alive. In fact, ghouls actually heal via radiation. So to a certain extent, the radiation that made them is also important to keeping them alive. But it's this weird thing of, well, I've got to stay alive longer, but I could also lose my mind completely and become feral.
Right, right. Actually, now that you mentioned that, to like tangent a little bit here for us. Hey, Caustic.
Hey, Caustic.
We during the stream at some point we'd been talking about how it might be interesting if Fallout incorporated like a race mechanic, like so that it was like you had the opportunity to play a human or a super mutant or a ghoul.
Yeah.
And what if, okay, so like the perk obviously is that you can just go to somewhere irradiated and start healing.
Yeah.
What if there was also like a balancing mechanic where like you couldn't absorb too much radiation too fast, or you started to like develop like insanities?
I think Bethesda games in general need to perfect a non-player controlled action, because there's illusion spells and all kinds of other stuff that you can do to other people, but people can't do to you. And I feel like it'd be really awesome if they did like an uncontrolled AI response for stuff like that, for like completely losing your shit or being under a spell. And it would be so cool to just, all of a sudden, you're playing your ghoul character in Fallout 6, 7, 8, 9, and like, you're in an irradiated area, you're like, oh good, my health's been topped off, but oh gosh, this is getting a little more serious. I have to go further down into this pit. And frickin', like, all of a sudden, you start, like, you realize you're not moving anymore, and no matter what you do, you start attacking your companions and stuff like that. Like, I think that would be amazing. You'd be like, holy shit, I've gone too far, and you have to, like, fight, like, your controls to be able to get out of the area and get some rat away before you just completely lose it. Right.
And to answer the question, Caustic, no, we're just talking about Fallout ghouls right now, because it came up.
They're semi-related.
They're generally.
They're mistakenly called zombies a lot anyway.
Right.
Plus, there's a lot of different zombies, so like technically these are like the radiation zombies. It does sound frustrating to eventually lose control of your character and be like, ah, shit, I'm attacking dog meat.
Yeah. See, I also thought that sounded fairly frustrating, Caustic. However, I think I know of a way to circumvent the frustration. What if it was a cutscene? Like,
Now,
what if it had like a cinematic camera and it just showed you a scene that like got randomly generated, or not randomly generated, but like generated at the time that that like it was actually happening, right? So like the like I went crazy feral like moment would happen, but it wouldn't be like you're in the game. It like has this, it like gives you a cinematic of what's happening in the game.
now that's interesting that you bring that up, because now that I'm thinking of it, technically a human could absorb more rads than a ghoul would be able to, because at a certain point the ghoul would have this like point of you can't play your character anymore.
Right.
So in essence, a human could soak up 1,000 rads before they die. A ghoul can soak up, say, like 800, 900 rads before they lose complete control over their character.
Sure. I think that, or like, I guess the other thing is that like, it could be sort of like in stages. So like you get like little things that like come up that show you like that you're losing control of your character. That way, it's not like all at once.
That would make sense. So it's a growing problem, right?
Right.
So like once you hit like 500 rads, you sort of notice like maybe you're not, going completely forward. You've kind of like veered off to the left a little bit. And then maybe during conversations, you all of a sudden start growling or something like that. Like it's a.
No, I was also thinking about like different things that happen in conversation. Like, what if they started introducing like feral like conversation options?
Oh, that'd be like you get too irradiated and like you like enter like a ghoul room and you'd normally be like, oh shit, and start shooting, but like for some reason you can't ready your weapon, and then you can like go up to them and go like the dialogue options are brains and like you can actually talk to feral ghouls.
Yeah. I was actually also thinking like to regular people too, like just to sort of demonstrate how weird you're starting to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at some point, like you get so irradiated that you don't have regular options anymore. Like
right. Like it's sort of like
on that like kind of way.
Yeah, that'd be cool too. Like a random like maybe like a perk for companions that they can also have like a chance to help you out if you turn feral for a short period of time, or they can hold you down until like they can force some rat away into you or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But yeah, like also just that the idea that it could be reversible, right? Just to make it more playable.
Mm-hmm.
But also it would be kind of funny if there was like an alternate, sort of like almost a game within the game where like you get enough rads that you're no longer like considered to be like a like on the human side of everything. Like,
and of course this would have to be like
the prejudice of being a ghoul in a human world. You're a ghoul in a ghoul world, getting quests from ghouls and stuff.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. So like, in order to like access that super early game, you just walk your butt somewhere where it's like super heavily irradiated and just wait. That way you can like experience the whole game as a feral, right? It would
be. I'd say it would have less depth, because probably at most it would be like, let's raid this settlement and eat everybody.
Right. Well, you see, we say that.
That's true, but we don't know the inner workings of the feral mind.
Right, exactly. Which would be what it would be like good for. Like
right.
you could do this to like have an insight into what the ferals are actually like in their own society, if you can say there is one. As of presently, it doesn't look like it, but who fucking knows? An outsider looking in doesn't necessarily recognize the system going on.
Hashtag underworld, right? And how's it going, Jace? We're talking about zombies today, and we got on the topic of ghouls. Like Fallout 4 ghouls. Because, I mean, they're basically radioactive. It's not they're undead, but they're as close as you can get. Like, they were just, like, inches away from, like, being dead.
Yep. And then weird 50s science happens, and you, instead of dying, mutate into a ghoul.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think it would be a really interesting way to kind of like explore how zombies relate together, right?
Right.
Like the from
Like,
like
what
the
kind of
Fallout.
society is it? Is it like an unintentional hive mind, like you're all sort of craving flesh, therefore you all sort of have the same sort of ideas of what you'd like to do? Or like, do they have aspirations? Like, I mean, sometimes you find ghouls that have like teddy bears and dinner forks and stuff like that, and maybe this'll like sort of like they're trying to reclaim the past that they've lost and have no like thing of returning. So like maybe
cool.
they're trying to feel human, but like latching on to the last few remnants of memory they have.
Exactly. And yeah, I think that would be, I think personally, that would be a really cool thing to do that. To like play that game, man. I want to play it now.
Oh, the Underworld. Oh, do you mean the Underworld in DC? Yeah, the Underworld in DC. Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. I mean, I'm maybe with a couple of mods in Fallout 3, you might get like alternative start, choose a ghoul race, and then you could do something like that. But yeah, that'd be very interesting too, Caustic.
I think I'd be more interested to see like not like going back and redoing like the DC Wasteland, but like going and doing like the NYC Wasteland, and that like because they have a huge subway system in there, right? That'd be a really interesting place.
Oh my gosh! Basically, like ghouls don't really have an aversion to the sun, but they definitely like staying in like wet areas that are dark.
I think it's probably more comfortable. Like their skin is all burned and shit, right? Like
that's true. Yeah.
Being in the sun might be irritating.
Yeah.
And staying like because like burned skin tends to like ooze, but if you don't have any like bodily fluids left anymore, like it would just be dry. Staying in like a moist place would be would probably just be more comfortable.
Yeah, that's pretty disgusting, but it makes sense.
Right. Oh man. No man, like that's also one of those things, right? Like as like to get away from Fallout real quick and get back into like regular zombies, thinking about like the way in which a zombie dies actually gives you a really interesting and sometimes unique opportunity to like do cool makeup and visual effects in like a TV show or movie.
Oh no,
right?
totally. I like sometimes you see like behind the scenes for some movies, and the way that they do zombie makeup is an art form. It's an art form on someone's face.
Exactly. No, and I love it when like designers of zombies are basically told like, okay, so we need this signature zombie. They died in this accident that we can see nearby in the scene. Go.
Right.
And the designer is like given free reign to do whatever they want.
Mm-hmm. No, I gotta say there's a few different zombies, right? And I'm just gonna call them the modern day zombies, the runners.
Sure. Oh yeah.
The ones that are usually attributed to some sort of virus or chemical attack. You know, those sorts of things.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, that would be interesting, Caustic.
Yeah, no, that'd be sweet. I'd be into it. I'd dig it.
Yeah. Hopefully it's better laid out than the DC metro system, though. Because holy shit.
We can hope.
But no, getting back to what I was saying, the
runners.
Yeah, the runners, man. Like zombies back in the old days.
Shamblers.
Zombies used to be shamblers. As long as you weren't freaking the fuck out, you could outrun a zombie easily. And as long as you don't get trapped or like caught in like a herd sort of situation, you were fine. You could outrun them. It wasn't an issue. The issue was in numbers, being caught off guard, that sort of thing.
Yep.
And now they have these runners who are just like, okay, so I'm like a zombie athlete who can engage all of his muscles without the physical limitations of pain.
Yep.
So like some zombies can freaking lift cars because they don't feel their like limbs ripping apart. They just do it because they're hungry for brains.
Exactly. Ravenous hunger, relentless physicality because of being powered by something that isn't like, you know, real human metabolism.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, like I 28 Days Later, man. Like, that's, to my knowledge, that's like the movie that started it all as far
Oh
as
yeah.
like zombies being runners. Because it again, just to my knowledge, it's the first instance where zombies weren't shambling, that they were like fast and like insanely strong and all that jazz. Like, yeah, the zombies' power used to come from just sheer numbers, like volume of zombies in an area was
Right.
like where they got their like impact.
Because
And
it's
you couldn't
basically a
stop.
game of sharks and minnows.
Right,
It's
right.
yeah. Essentially, you got one zombie. It's a disease vector. You're a
Yeah,
zombie.
yeah.
You bite someone else. Now 2 people can bite 2 other people. Now 4 people can bite 8 other people, and it's this exponential thing of people succumbing to zombie. It's usually bites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In most cases, it's some sort of saliva carrier or blood carrier.
Right, right. I was about to say 28 Days Later was strictly speaking like or not strictly speaking, but also included like the blood vector.
Hmm.
They used that to horrifying effect on the screen. Um but yeah, like there's it's traditionally biting. I've seen some cases, like some TV shows, movies where like scratches can do it.
Really?
Um yeah, yeah.
Huh.
But
I
like
guess
but
right.
not
You're
you.
like oozing and disgusting enough that you know.
Exactly. Um, I know you're not going to watch it, but spoilers to chat about The Walking Dead. So if you guys haven't seen season 1 yet, where the fuck do you live? And two, like they kind of reveal at the end of season 1 that everybody is infected with zombieism. It's like in the air. Like there's no escape. Like everybody is infected.
And
It
it's like
just
a weakened
activates
immune system or
die.
something that does it, right?
Yeah, yeah. It was a disease that got released, and it's now in everyone. And if you die, you become a zombie.
Oh, it's one of those things.
Yeah, yeah. If you get bitten by a zombie, it accelerates the process and causes you to die.
Ah, I see.
Like the zombie plague kills you like much faster if it's activated by another living zombie.
Right, because they're like fully upgraded. They've got all the yeah.
They got all the perks. But yeah, so like that's how it works in The Walking Dead, anyways. So even if you just die of natural causes, you wake up as a zombie and go to kill people. So like you got to shoot them in the head.
Right.
Like once they're dead, you got to wait for them to come back. You shoot them in the head, or you burn them. But then there's a chance that you'll just end up with a burning zombie running around.
And they don't care that they're on fire.
Yeah, no, they don't.
No.
Trying to eat you, setting you on fire while they are on fire. It's just not a good scene.
Yeah, it's no. Yeah. But you know, there's I know this is gonna sound weird saying as how I, describe myself as being afraid of zombies.
Yeah.
But my favorite, I gotta say, type of zombie are the magically resurrected kind.
Right.
Because some of the rules don't apply, like zombie severed hands. That maybe it's not the full zombie that goes after you, like just some like thing like crawls into your room and like suffocates you or claws at you or something.
Right.
That it's beyond. I mean, everything here is beyond reason, but it's beyond even more reason, right? Those are the kind of zombies that like they're so magic and imbued with like necromantic energy that you almost have to like trap them, encase them, or completely disintegrate them to ensure that they won't get you.
Right.
Making that whole process of stop trying to eat me even more difficult.
Yeah, for sure. There is a D&D module. Used to be called Ravenloft. Now it's called Curse of Strahd in 5th edition. It involves some zombies, and there's definitely some of those that like if you chop off their limbs, like the limb stays alive and tries to get you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I think the only way to actually like stop the zombie is to either deal like enough magic damage or to like cut its fucking head off, in order to like make every part of it stop.
Right.
Gets to be a problem when like it's just this writhing mass of bits that are left over, and they're all still trying to move towards you because you weren't paying attention to what you were supposed to be cutting off.
Right, right. Although there are those some rare occasions, and that I say rare, I mean very rare, that like you cut off the head and you have the headless zombie, right?
Yes.
You have the headless zombie, and the head maybe isn't alive, or it might actually still be alive.
Right.
And they might be carrying it with them.
Right, right. Oh man, I love that.
It's like those, where am I going? You have to hold me up.
I believe they're called Doolahans. They're like headless horsemen.
Yeah.
It's just like what you were talking about, where like they're like carrying their own head kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's a hilarious thing, but it's another one of those like, this is a weird undead kind of thing that happens.
Yeah, like it's beyond our sort of normal shoot it in the head, it's dead sort of thing. It's like, you severed its spinal cord, and it picked up its head, and now it's walking around with it. It's like it's got a purse now.
Just a head purse.
It's carrying a chihuahua in its mouth.
Yeah, just like hold the head out to you like a lantern, except it's going like.
Oh shit, yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, how bad would a siege be if like you had a whole bunch of headless zombies and they just fling their heads in there?
Just fling the heads over, yeah. Oh man, it's a bad show. Gotta hope that they're not that smart.
No, and that's I think one of the big things about zombies, right? Is they're not smart.
Right.
Thank
goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. The only thing that really keeps you ahead of zombies is the fact that you can use your ingenuity to invent new things and use tactics to try to evade them and kill them.
Yep.
Where zombies, it's more like it's a numbers game. Maybe in some cases there's a bit of a hive mind, but it's not like they're gonna like start making homemade flamethrowers and like, you know, frickin' G.I. Joe rappelling off of buildings to jump in a window after you.
Right.
Unless you have a G.I. Joe zombie.
Let's not think about that.
There are those rare occasions where you have zombies that remember a little bit of their previous life.
Yeah.
I don't know what movie I watched, but there was like a fireman zombie, and he was still able to like brandish an axe and break down doors and shit.
Right. You're thinking of Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the like there was the leader zombie in that one who's like this big burly like African American dude. He's like he marches forth on the human settlement that's like been fortified against zombies, and like at some point picks up a gun. He doesn't ever use it, but he's like got it, and it's like this is his symbol of authority. He's like, I have the gun kind of deal.
Right.
And like he like marches himself and like his like entire like horde of zombies behind him into the river, and like because they're dead and they don't have any like buoyancy anymore, they just sank.
So I know that. Yeah, that was I mean that and like the scene of the Pirates of the Caribbean. Although they're kind of like zombies. They're borderline.
Yeah. They're one of those like borderline things. But that's actually hilariously that's actually more in line with what zombies are like traditionally than like Day of the Dead zombies that we were just talking about, because like as we were saying earlier, zombies are traditionally a religious figure in certain African and Caribbean religions, particularly voodoo, right?
Yeah.
So like the fact that there's like basically an ancient curse on some treasure somewhere in the Caribbean that turns people into, instead of being like regular people, into these undead skeletal like zombie type people. I mean, that's just real in terms of like zombie lore.
Yeah, right. It's less of a disease, and it's a curse, right?
Straight up affliction.
Straight up just a curse. Like it's the, you know, don't be grave digging, or like don't steal this treasure. It's like the wives' tale with like a much darker ending.
Yeah. Oh, the old wives' tale of don't just go grave digging now, you hear? Oh man, like
I never learned.
excellent. Oh man. No, but like, I don't know. So I mean, so like if we're gonna talk about things that are like
I just realized something else that's crazy about undead things. Right? Like seeing a family member.
oh yeah.
That's a huge thing in a lot of zombie things. Like, you've been trying to survive all this time, and then, like, your wife / girlfriend / significant other is now
Right.
a zombie. And
Yeah.
it doesn't give a shit about you anymore because it wants to eat you.
Yeah.
Like, that whole, like, it stripped everything away from it and turned it into a monster.
Yeah. Yeah. Except for like the way they look and the person that you remember, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's actually like that's a common trope that they utilize in the hey, quit that. Hey. Sorry, my cat is destroying my couch.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's a common trope that they use in The Walking Dead, like throughout multiple seasons. Like there's a story arc and like something's happening, and then oh my god, it was their family, like kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like playing on that like that human side of things is a thing that show is very, very much a fan of. I'm personally not a huge fan of like that trope. I think it's like overdone and kind of like it feels a lot like a cheap shot.
I mean,
like,
it does, but at the same time, it's very real, right?
Right.
Like the hesitation.
Right.
Like, unless you're some like badass who replaced his arm with a shotgun, you're probably gonna like be like, oh shit, it's, you know, Uncle Fred. I can't just shoot him. And then that hesitation could either mean life or death.
Right.
And so zombies also have that on their side. The fact that they at least resemble enough of their previous life to trigger memories of people who are still alive.
Yeah. I mean, yes, circumstantially, but I will give you that pretty much generally.
No, yeah. I mean, if Uncle Joe was like right on top of me and he was going, ah! And I was like just keeping up above me, I'd freaking shoot his ass. But like, you know.
Right. I mean, the other thing is that it has to be somebody who's like whom you have like a significant emotional connection to, right?
Well,
like,
true, yeah. It's not gonna be like the neighbor you never talk to or whatever.
Right. I mean,
maybe, I don't know.
As I think about my upstairs neighbor,
maybe I shouldn't wait for them to become zombies.
Oh man, it just like almost makes me wish for it, so I can just get that catharsis over with.
Oh boy.
Just like, man, I've wanted to shoot that guy.
They turned into a zombie. There's nothing I could do. Sorry.
Right. He doesn't really
And that's
look like a zombie.
wait, that is another thing. That is another thing about zombies, right? Is this? Yeah. It is an apocalypse, right? It's an end of days. Like,
well,
presumably, yeah, unless it's like an isolated incident. But like, those are rare. But like, basically, you don't have to worry about just the zombies. It's literally everybody else trying to survive.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing. Because resources are scarce, you know, mostly if a lot of people are dead, like electricity isn't on and all that sort of stuff. So it is literally apocalypse style living. And so you can barely trust the person next to you, let alone the thing coming after you without a jaw trying to lick your face off.
Right. Anyways. Yeah, man, like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people who think that, like, the zombie apocalypse won't actually be that bad, right? And I think in a lot of ways, like, the popularization of zombie fiction, it does two things. First, it creates an exposure, like, bias in people. There's like because like they're able to like calmly watch something and rationalize like what they would do when they're watching a TV show.
Right, right. You see like some dude do some badass thing, you're like, I could do that.
I could do that. I'm good enough to do that. Wrong. It's a fucking movie or TV show, whatever.
Yeah.
Video game, if that's your thing, and that's where you get your zombie lore from. But like, also like a lot of stuff that happens in like zombie fiction just isn't fucking possible. Like, so I'm gonna pull like an Evil Dead 2 reference here. One of like the main character Ash gets like a chainsaw as a hand. Not gonna happen. First,
that's a lot of weight to be putting on the end of your stump.
It's like weird ridiculousness, but that's like beside the point. Then you've got like video games and stuff that are like, oh yeah, in order to like create this crazy badass weapon, all you need is like MacGyver bullshit, and then you can
fucking
MacGyver
right, yeah. Dying Light and like all these other games have like, okay, so you know, have like a acid drip and like this little gout of fire on the end, and attach it to a crowbar, and there you go. You got an acid spitting flaming crowbar.
There you go. Yeah, again, that's bullshit. That's not a real weapon you can have in like a like if the zombie apocalypse happens. What you want is a gun, and what you want to be is good at using it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
or a bunker. Like sometimes the best way to survive a zombie apocalypse is wait until everything's dead.
I was about to say, just wait until it blows over, right? the like, and like inevitably, there's like that always happens in like in the fiction somewhere. It's like this person was just waiting, and like somebody came along and like fucking ruined it somehow because you were dumb enough to let him in.
Right, exactly.
You gotta, if you're going to go the route of I'm going to lock myself away and wait out the zombie apocalypse.
Don't let anybody in.
Like, you gotta be cold.
Yeah.
Like, you can't let anybody in. You can't take pity on people. You can't any of that shit.
No.
Like, you got enough resources to cover you and yours, and you can't trust anybody else. Also, don't be fucking around when people like start sneaking outside because they just gotta smell the fresh air.
No, that's when they get you, man.
Right?
You get
like,
all these zombies that have like Febreze and shit.
They're hiding it. Like, fuck it.
No. Yeah, they get all they get smart. They get the fresheners from cars. You see zombies with the little pine trees, and you're like, oh man, the air smells so fresh tonight. And you go out, and you get some weird, piney death.
Right. I mean, like, and they don't even necessarily die when they go out there, right? Like it's one of those things. Like they got bit, but it's not so bad. It's like on like their hand or like on their back.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? That the hope that you're not going to change.
Right.
It's like, just suck the zombie poison out. Is that how it works?
Is that even a thing? No, it's not a thing.
Okay, then just wait for a week and see how it goes, and then you got, frickin' Bill who's locked in the outhouse, and now you can't take a shit, and also you have a zombie in your outhouse.
You got to get out.
Are you done there, Bill? Oh, you had a hard night, didn't you?
But yeah, man, so I don't know. That's just one of those like things. Like but like that touches on that human element so much, right? Like it's this person that and like they're not a zombie yet, and you still connect with them, and like even as they're turning into a zombie, you're still like holding out hope that it's like it's not that bad, that they're not turning, like it's just like a trick. It's you being paranoid, and then like they're fully zombie, and you're like, well, I've accepted them up until now, and everything is still fine the way it is. Like, can't I just keep them?
And then it's less of a
for killing them.
Yeah, right, and it's more of like a pet deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, right, that's what it would turn into, a very unfriendly and non-touchable pet.
I mean, it's actually really funny though. I've definitely seen some where they take that to a really high degree, and it's like some dude whose like daughter turned into a zombie, and in order to like keep her alive, he like goes out, kills actual people, and feeds them to her. Like this just wanna like hold on to humanity so badly they're willing to lose it themselves.
Right, exactly. Who was it? Little Shop of Horrors is similar in that way.
Yeah.
Like Seymour doesn't want to like lose out on like this newfound fame that he is getting from his crazy, ridiculous like flesh-eating plant, and therefore he's willing to like go out and kill people, or at least like go out, collect dead bodies. Then he's willing to kill somebody, and then the plant wants to eat somebody whom he's not okay killing, and has the power at that point to kill them anyways, right? Like there's that escalation that by feeding into the thing that you're trying to like prevent from becoming awful, it will become awful anyways, or that you will become awful in trying to prevent the awful thing.
Exactly.
So it's kind of glorious, but at the same time, it's like it's one of those like, come on, man, the slippery slope is real.
Yeah,
let's not fuck around with the slippery slope.
Yeah, zombies are all about like this self-perpetuating loss of humanity.
Right.
And there's so many ways you can do it. And hey, Master,
Master.
how's it going? We're in like the last 10 minutes or so of our talk show about zombies.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways to lose your humanity. You either become a zombie, you are fighting against other humans to survive, or maybe you really just do lose it, and you know one of your family members becomes a zombie, and you're like, well, I can't just kill them. I guess I'll feed them other humans.
Right. And the more we've like sort of talked about it, the more I can kind of see why you would say that like zombies are scary, right? Because
Right.
like it's not even just like visually they are scary, or like conceptually they are scary because like they're hard to kill and they're gross looking. It's like there's this whole horrible like worldview that you can take that can like show you that there's this kind of existential horror about zombies, and like the futility of like life and living when zombies are part of your reality and everything.
Right.
It's a really,
like, who isn't a monster in a zombie apocalypse?
I mean, right. There might be like somebody.
Yeah, right.
But like
Where either they live in the middle of nowhere and they have a nice little chicken farm with like a good moat.
Yeah. But like I even think that is like getting to that point where it's like you're also a monster, because like you're denying
Right.
the reality of the situation by just hiding from this reality instead of doing something about it, right? Now,
But,
granted,
I mean, what can you do?
What would you do?
Right. I mean, are you going to be some sort of zombie killing yeehaw who jumps in the back of a pickup truck and your sole thing in life is to shoot as many zombies in the face as bullets you have?
Right. But I mean, well, and like, I think like the ultimate you're still a good person in like the apocalypse, or like the zombie apocalypse, would be like somebody who is like stoic, like they don't take pleasure in the fact that they have to kill zombies. It's not a revenge trip.
That's
it's just,
true. That is a
civic...
major part.
Right, like I have to kill zombies because it's the right thing to do. Doesn't matter how many people they killed. All that matters is that they're a nuisance and they gots to go.
Paladins.
They're not doing it for They're not doing it for money. They're not doing it for glory. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it. They got to be a paladin. So my question, Bing, is when are we going to play paladins versus zombies?
Is that a game?
No.
I thought it was a thing.
No. I would love it. Actually, I might design it. Like you start off as this noble, stoic paladin, like bent upon ridding the world of all the zombies that you possibly can. But like as you go through, like bad things happen, and like there's this entropy of your character until you're left with not but whatever the zombie apocalypse has reduced you to, right? And like I feel like that the story of you have fallen is a really interesting one to take.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually like pseudo been doing that with the Fallout game that I've been, or playthrough that I've currently been doing.
Oh, really?
Started off like very like noble and like I'm gonna do the right thing because the right thing's the important thing to do. And like he's slowly been like devolving into this. Well, sometimes I do bad things.
Right.
At some point, I don't know if he'll actually get there, but he might just become a deplorable person. But yeah, like I think that story of the fall from like glory and grace is an interesting one, and I'd like to see
it's definitely one of it's definitely one of those things of I'm still alive. Obviously, I'm not doing something wrong.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Like, who cares if I've got like a fortress of wooden spikes that all have human heads on them? I'm still alive in the zombie apocalypse. Obviously, I'm doing something right.
Well, because like if you impale the zombie skulls on the spikes, like it keeps the zombies away.
I mean, actually, that was a hilarious thing. I think it was called Zombieland.
Yeah.
And Bill Murray was in it. And and his hilarious way of dealing with the zombie apocalypse was cover himself in human feces and go out and play 18 holes of golf because they wouldn't know he was human because he smelled so bad.
Right. I remember Zombieland. That was a good movie.
And, like, and that's the whole zombie camo, I think, is a hilarious thing that either works perfectly or you think it works perfectly and it doesn't.
Right. They do zombie camo in another thing. I think it was The Walking Dead, which I think is where Zombieland like pulled it from. Because I season 1 had happened already. But like, yeah, they get some zombies and they like chop them up and they like put all the gross like goo and organs all over them. It's disgusting. But like, they are then able to walk amongst the zombies without getting eaten because the zombies like, you know, deteriorated eyes, whatever. Some explanation about how they don't see real good and then they just smell other zombies whenever they're like hanging out nearby. Right. So,
but you know, it's a slippery slope. Happens. It's a slippery slope because that one guy who suggested zombie camo, right, was only right one time. Don't rely on that guy for any other ideas for probably about another 6 months.
Right. Yeah, they do ditch that tactic really fast. I think mostly because it's horrendous and disgusting. But yeah, man, like hold on. I just remembered this. There's this movie called Feast. It's not about zombies. It's actually about like this weird, like it came out of the desert like monsters type thing. The first one's ridiculous, but it still cleaves very truly to like the tropes and stuff that like are popular in the kinds of movies that it's like. In the second one, because of course there was a sequel, they
usually bring up enough money just to get a sequel, and then we'll see after that.
Right. But there's this guy who's like, they capture or kill one of these horrible like beasts, and like they're in the back of like a cargo container on like the back of a semi. Yeah. And they're like, all right, we have to dissect it. And I'm just like, you what? Why would you think that? You're not a scientist. You're a bartender. What the fuck are you going to do when you dissect it? But he starts like cutting it open. He uses like this big ass fucking buck knife and like just starts like taking out organs and stuff. And you're just looking at some of these going like, what is that? Like, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world. And like, there's this weird thing where like sometimes you have to like venture into ludicrousness in order to make your movie work. This is one of those times. And like it happens not like a lot in zombie movies and TV shows, but it happens enough that it's worth mentioning. It ties directly to we'll just cover ourselves in zombie gore and hope we don't get dead.
Right. Like eventually, like you run out of options, so the only options you have are the crazy ones.
The crazy ones, and like that part of it's real, but it's when you jump the shark directly to it's the most ridiculous thing.
I mean, some of them get really cool. Like I think in the same Day of the Dead, they frickin' made some giant armored flame-throwing car. Like that was fucking cool.
Yeah, no, but you see, that's another one of those things. That's post-apocalyptic fiction, man. Like you get Fury Road, where like you got the guy on front of the car that's basically just amps, and he's like playing his fucking guitar, and it's shooting flame out of it because of fucking course it is.
Right, and it's not actually, he doesn't have a gun or anything. It's just to make everybody else pumped up. It's like the same thing as like an Irish war pipe. What is it?
Yeah. No, exactly.
Bagpipe, yeah.
Yeah. Like you've got bagpipe players in the Civil War. You've got like
the drummers and stuff.
Yeah, drummers. Yeah, like in like Native American culture, you've got war drums and like.
And in the apocalypse, you've got this guy.
Every culture has this, right?
Yeah. And, like, in the post-apocalypse, you've got a guy on a car filled with ants playing a flaming guitar.
Metal that's shooting flamethrower, man. Like, because of fucking course it is, and like it's sometimes the leaps into absurdity are so fucking badass and so cool that you can't not. But sometimes the leap into absurdity is so out of left field that it doesn't even fucking make sense.
Oh no, certainly. It comes from desperation.
Right, of course.
That like, you know, you're going to die. What's the best option? Well, I could cover myself in zombie gore, or I could attach a chainsaw to my newly amputated stump.
Right, I mean, yes. It's one of the reasons why I try to like push you guys so hard when we're playing like role-playing games on the tabletop, because like I want to see how fucking desperate I can make you and see what you'll pull out of your ass sometimes. You know
I cave real hard and go for the ludicrous real easy, though.
You do, which is why I don't have to push too hard. But no, I used to have to push people like way into the brink of like what they were willing to like handle or be capable of handling. Yeah, like used to be like, gotta make a sacrificial lamb out of like a couple NPCs and like like destroy their favorite place to hang out and like take away their favorite gun and all sorts of shit, right?
Right.
Like in the Apocalypse World game that we just played, I did it to Wolf all the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Because like he's just such a badass that like I have to push him real hard in order to like get him to do something that isn't just shoot it in the head.
Right.
So like yeah, like you gotta like there are some players with certain characters whom you have to push and push and push in order to like get them to that place where they're going to be ridiculous and ludicrous. But you know what, man? Like it's so fucking worth it when you get them there.
Right. Right.
But yeah, like I feel like zombies generally are a great way to like put that kind of pressure on people without having to stretch your imagination too much, because it's the fucking zombie apocalypse, right?
Right. So, they'll do anything to survive.
Yeah. Because they'll do anything to eat you.
Exactly, right.
And I know that it's like the worst thing that that you can remember from The Walking Dead, but there was that scene where the one zombie's like pushing his face through like
oh gosh, yeah, there was the hole in the glass window, and he keeps trying to push in, but it peels away the flesh on his face. Yeah. Oh my god.
And you were just like, oh god, no, I can't do it. And you were like, nope, that's it. Yep. No more Walking Dead.
Nope.
But yeah, like it's those types of moments that you're striving for. Like you got to try and push people until they can reach that place where they are the zombie trying to eat the person in the front seat of the car.
Wow. So there's actually a role reversal at some point.
Yeah.
Zombie, you've pushed me too far. Now you get to see my side of things.
Exactly.
And that's when you get the flamethrowers, armored cars, chainsaw-mounted arms, arm-mounted chainsaws.
Arm-mounted chainsaws,
Chainsaw-mounted arms. That'd probably be on the zombie side. The chainsaw mounted arms.
Chainsaw mounted arms, yeah.
It's actually just like this. It's a slapping machine. It's just a whole bunch of arms attached to like this rotating thing.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
It's kind of like in those cartoons where it's a wheel, but instead of a wheel, it's just a whole bunch of feet with shoes.
Too good. Too good. But yeah, man, like if you can, you push people until they become the thing they detest and hate. And what better victory could I have than to change who you are fundamentally? You may kill all of my zombies, but let me tell you something, brother. You are going to regret the person that you have become.
Right.
The only thing is that, like, at least in our Apocalypse World game, Wolf started there.
Right.
I just have to keep pushing him until he changes.
Oh man. But yeah.
Oh well, that game's over.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, I think we'll transition over to Fallout 4 now.
Sweet deal.
So yeah, I really enjoyed talking about zombies, even though I don't like them. But now you know why. Now you know why I don't like them.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll be transitioning over to Fallout 4, and yeah, I have some interesting stories to tell about things in Fallout.
Right.
Oh my. So I think I'm going to try to end this, or I'm going to try to use the title screen and transition over. Sometimes that doesn't work always, so just hang into the chat for a little while as I sort of get titles transitioned and whatnot. But yeah, just hang in there, and I'll be back shortly with some more Fallout 4.
Awesome.
So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back in just a second, and thank you for joining us, Saber. Thank you.
No problem at all.
All right. I'll be back in just a second.
Awesome.